Everyone at the office laughed when Ava spilled coffee on her thrift store heels. The snickers were loudest from the corner cubicles, people with designer clothes and curated Instagram smiles. She bent down quickly, hiding her face, her fingers trembling as she dabbed at the mess. It wasn't the first time this month her life had reminded her just how invisible she'd become. What no one knew was that Ava hadn't eaten dinner the night before. Rent was late, her mother's medical bills were climbing, her little brother needed new shoes. And yet, here she was, struggling to stay professional in a workplace that valued appearance over effort, titles over integrity. So when the copier jammed again and the man in overalls arrived with grease on his hands, she didn't even look twice. Just another janitor, she thought. Just another underpaid ghost trying to stay out of the way. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and that true worth goes far deeper than appearances, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Stories Collection for more heart-touching stories. Your support means the world. Ava had been working at the corporate office of Stratton Global for 7 months, buried in data entries and ignored emails. Each day felt like a test she wasn't meant to pass. Her supervisor, Kristen, a woman with a sharp tongue and sharper heels, reminded her often that she was lucky to be here. Her ideas were brushed aside, her hours extended without pay, her efforts unnoticed, unless she made a mistake. Then the entire floor seemed to wake up just to point fingers. She didn't expect kindness from anyone anymore. That's why the man kneeling by the broken copier caught her off guard. It was lunchtime. Most had cleared out. Ava stayed back to finish a report. The machine had eaten 2 pages and groaned in protest. That's when she saw him, tall, maybe mid-40s, with short salt and pepper hair, a bit of stubble, and a warm but tired look in his eyes. His overalls were stained, his hands rough, and yet, his demeanor calm, almost thoughtful. Without a word, he opened the side panel and began working. She glanced once, nodded politely, and continued typing. But then, he did something odd. He looked at her like she mattered. "Long day?" he asked gently, not as a stranger, but like someone who had once stood exactly where she was. Ava blinked. No one ever asked her that. Certainly not the cleaning staff or the maintenance team, they were usually ignored just as much as she was. She gave a half-hearted shrug. "Isn't it always?" He smiled. "Sometimes long days are preparing us for something bigger." She wanted to scoff but didn't. There was something soothing about his voice. She didn't realize then that her life was about to change, and that the man before her was not who she thought. The man came again the next day. And the next. Always with a different task, checking lights, unclogging a sink, adjusting the thermostat. Each time, Ava found herself in small conversations with him. They were always brief, but they lingered in her mind long after. He never asked for her name, nor offered his. But he noticed things, how her wrist had a faded bruise from carrying too many binders, how she always skipped lunch, how her eyes carried the weight of someone surviving, not living. A week passed. Then 2. And one morning, Ava arrived early to see Kristen in a frenzy, fixing her hair and snapping orders. "The CEO's coming down to our floor today," she hissed, pacing. "So everyone, look busy. And smile." Ava hadn't seen the CEO before. Rumor had it he was distant, ruthless in meetings, always suited, rarely visible to the lower staff. His name was Mason Clark, a self-made man who had built Stratton Global from a single office and had grown it into an empire. She didn't expect to ever cross his path. So when she saw Kristen and others fussing over a tall man in a crisp gray suit later that morning, she didn't think twice. Until her eyes locked with his. It was the janitor. No, it was him. Clean-shaven, sharp-jawed, eyes exactly the same. Ava froze. He looked at her for a moment that stretched time. There was no flicker of shame, no amusement, just a soft acknowledgement, as though he had known this moment would come. As though he wanted her to know. The meeting ended. The CEO left. And Ava was left in a daze. The next day, a small envelope was left on her desk. No name. Just a handwritten note inside. Perception isn't always truth. I see you. I see your work. Let's talk. MC. The following week, Ava was called into the executive boardroom. She thought it was a mistake. The receptionist smiled and nodded. He's expecting you. Inside, Mason stood by the window, hands in his pockets, dressed simply now, no suit, no show. I wanted to understand this company again, he said, turning. And to do that, I needed to see how the people at the bottom were being treated. He paused, his eyes serious. I pretended to be maintenance for 6 weeks. Do you know how many people looked me in the eye? 3. You were the only one who treated me like I mattered, even when you thought I was no one. Ava's heart pounded in her ears. He offered her a seat. Then, with sincere warmth, he asked about her life, her dreams, her struggles, her ideas. He listened. That single conversation turned into 2. Then more. Ava was invited to work directly on a new initiative Mason was launching, an employee wellness and innovation program designed to give overlooked staff the voice they deserved. She helped build it from scratch. Within 6 months, Ava was promoted twice. Her ideas became policies. Her story became the cornerstone of a company-wide culture shift. But more than the success, it was the belief that changed her. For the first time in years, she stood taller, not because of her job title, but because someone had finally seen her worth. As for Mason, he didn't return to hiding in overalls. But every month, he visited a random department in disguise, not to test, but to understand. And every time, Ava was beside him, reminding others that value isn't worn on sleeves, but built in character. The office that once laughed at Ava now admired her. She didn't forget the sting of humiliation. But she chose not to return it. Instead, she helped create a workplace where no one felt invisible again. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that every person matters no matter their job title, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, subscribe to Stories Collection, and leave a comment. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that inspire. Memo special request. In the comments, tell us, have you ever been underestimated, or have you ever misjudged someone based on appearances? We'd love to hear your story. Absolutely. Here's a continuation and deeper development of the story to ensure it reaches the emotional and narrative depth suitable for an 8,000-word YouTube video. This extension will keep the cinematic and heartfelt tone, unfolding the characters' arcs, challenges, and emotional stakes further. Over the weeks that followed, whispers spread across the building. No one could believe it. The man who had unclogged the bathroom sink and replaced toner cartridges was Mason Clark, founder and CEO of the company that paid their salaries. People began to rethink their behavior. Suddenly, kindness was currency. Smiles were freely given, not just to the top executives, but to interns, janitors, and delivery staff. And at the center of it all stood Ava, no longer the girl with scuffed shoes and a quiet demeanor, but a woman walking with quiet confidence, sleeves rolled, clipboard in hand, building something real with the man who once knelt beside a broken copier. But her journey wasn't without hurdles. Promotion didn't erase pressure. With her new position came skepticism. Some whispered that she'd caught the CEO's attention for other reasons. A few insinuated she was just lucky, wrong place, right time. Ava heard the murmurs. They stung. But instead of breaking down, she broke through. She poured herself into her work, spending nights researching employee benefits models, weekends attending workshops on empathy-driven leadership. She wasn't interested in proving her worth to the doubters. She wanted to prove it to herself. Mason, too, faced his own fire. His board of directors questioned his decision to walk among staff incognito. They saw it as risky, unconventional, even foolish. But Mason stood firm. "If we forget what it's like down there," he said in a heated meeting, "we lose everything we were built on. People don't leave bad companies, they leave places that treat them like they're replaceable. I won't let Stratton become one of those places." His words, like the man himself, carried quiet power. A few weeks later, an unexpected letter arrived at Ava's desk. It was handwritten, the ink slightly smudged, clearly not from corporate. It was from Jasmine, a woman who cleaned their floor late at night. "Dear Ava, I used to think no one noticed people like me. But then you smiled at me in the hallway last Tuesday. You said thank you. You made me feel human. That may not mean much to others. But to me, it meant everything. Please keep being you. J." Ava read the note twice. Then again. Her hands shook. She kept it in her desk, tucked inside her planner, a quiet reminder that one small act of kindness can ripple into someone's soul. The transformation within the company was more than cosmetic. The People First initiative she co-led with Mason launched mental health support, childcare assistance, and a new mentorship program where senior leaders were paired with junior staff for 6-month immersive shadowing. Ava personally mentored an intern named Layla, a bright 19-year-old juggling 2 jobs and college classes. Layla reminded her of herself, hungry, tired, hopeful. She taught her not just how to climb, but how to lead. One day, as Ava and Mason reviewed the rollout of a new employee innovation fund, she asked quietly, "Why did you choose me that day? Out of everyone, why me?" Mason set down his pen and leaned back, thoughtful. "You reminded me of my mother," he said. "She worked 3 jobs when I was a kid. No one ever saw her. But she was the strongest person I've ever known. The day I fixed that copier, you didn't look past me. You saw me. That told me everything I needed to know." Their eyes met, not with romantic tension, but something deeper, mutual respect. The kind built not in boardrooms, but in the quiet trenches of unnoticed effort. As months turned into a year, Ava's life changed. Her mother's health improved thanks to better insurance. Her brother got into college on a scholarship she helped him find. Ava moved into a modest but cozy apartment with a window that caught the morning light, something she used to dream about during late bus rides home. Stratton Global, under Mason's leadership and Ava's influence, became a case study in business magazines for how empathy fuels innovation. Their revenue soared, not just because of happier employees, but because clients felt the difference. Authenticity can't be faked, and Ava embodied it. But she never forgot where she came from. She still brought coffee to the night security guard. Still said hello to every cleaner by name. Still took the long way to her office to greet interns and ask how they were really doing. Mason often watched her with quiet admiration, not for her performance metrics, but for her heart. And one day, nearly 18 months after their first encounter, Ava received a company-wide invitation. Annual Stratton Awards Gala. Employee of the Year, Ava Monroe. For restoring humanity to our halls. As she stood on stage that night, dressed simply but elegantly, the crowd erupted in applause. Mason handed her the plaque. Cameras flashed. People cheered. But Ava didn't see them. She saw a tired girl dabbing coffee off her shoes. She saw her mom smiling through pain. She saw late nights, whispered prayers, moments of doubt and defiance. And she smiled. Because she wasn't invisible anymore. She never had been. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that sometimes the people we overlook are the ones carrying the world on their shoulders, please like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Stories Collection. We tell stories that remind us we're all human, and that kindness, respect, and second chances still matter. Memo special request. In the comments, please tell us, who's the one person in your life that believed in you when no one else did? Let's celebrate them together. Your story might inspire someone who needs to feel seen today. Let me know if you'd like this as a downloadable script, with background music suggestions or scene timing notes for video production.